You are listening to the Lawyer Stories podcast with host Benny Gold. Lawyer Stories was founded in July 2017 on Instagram and is an expanding global network of lawyers and law students sharing their personal journeys to the noble profession of the practice of law. Join us on this podcast as we dig deeper into these stories and hear from lawyers and law students from around the world in all areas of the legal profession. Here at Lawyer Stories, we believe that every lawyer has a story. What's yours?
Welcome to the Lawyer Stories podcast with Benny Gold. Today we welcome in Joseph Benson, attorney and managing partner at Benson Bingham, focused on personal injury in Las Vegas, Nevada. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, they say Nevada out here. That's a big
Nevada. You know, that's funny because I had somebody from Nevada on my show probably 2 years ago, and I did the same thing. I said it the wrong way. It was like, and right away it was like, it's Nevada, you know. Okay.
Yeah. You're forgiven.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so Sin City, I think that's what they call it, right? That's amazing. So it might make for some good business. What's happening out there these days in Las Vegas?
Las Vegas is booming. I mean, this town is going crazy. Obviously, a lot of new attorneys, but we got a bigger population base. We got a lot of sports, a lot of things been added in the last couple of years with the Super Bowl. We've got F1. We've got a lot of big things going on here in Vegas. But yeah, especially in the legal field, we're more district court judges. We got bigger courtrooms. Well, not really, but they're making more of them because we need them.
So did you actually make it to the Super Bowl or no?
I did not. We just built a big addition on our house and have a nice little Super Bowl, so we didn't want to do it. So we're like, we'll stay home.
Awesome. Yeah. Congratulations. That sounds fun though, as it is. So what, excuse me, I once told a boss of mine that there was a conference I was interested in, and she said, well, where is it? And I said, oh, it's Nevada. I probably said Nevada, but I said, Nevada. And I think she finally figured out that I meant it was in Las Vegas. And needless to say, I wasn't permitted to go out there at the time from that little job. But, you never know what's going to be going on out there, right? So what's that?
So that's true. Definitely true.
So tell us where you're from. Are you from out there?
Yeah, so I was born in Las Vegas. I'm one of those rare people that are actually born here. Born at Nellis Air Force Base. My dad was in the military, was also an attorney in the military, was head of the legal JAG office out there.
Wow.
I was born there, raised here, then went up to Northern Nevada. Like many people, children and parents got divorced, so we went with my mom up to Northern Nevada. Was raised up there in Lake Tahoe, and went to high school at Worcester High School. Came back down to UNLV here in Las Vegas and went to hotel school. That's the big industry. And then kind of went from UNLV's hotel school, went to train at Four Seasons, got some good training there, and then decided this was probably not the road I wanted to go. I don't like working holidays. I don't like working nights.
Yep.
Went to law school down in San Diego and graduated from Thomas Jefferson School of Law.
Yep.
And then came back here and actually worked for my father for about 3 years, from 2000 to 2003.
Okay, gotcha.
And then decided it was time to spread my wings and go with my business partner, my cousin, Ben Bingham. We started Benson Bingham in 2004.
That's right. So that's like your whole story, man. I guess we can end right now. Like that's
it's
your story. No,
I want to hit the bullet points there for you.
No, I got it. So yeah, I want to just jump in there like a little deeper. Like, so at one point, did you know you wanted to be a lawyer? Was that your dad, like his inspiration? You were inspired by his JAG work?
Not necessarily his JAG work. I mean, he got out of the military, I guess, legal arena when he retired and opened his own office a block from the main gate at Nellis. And he was doing everything. He was doing criminal, he was doing family, he was doing personal injury, and then he had an aircraft plane crash that happened in Louisiana. I guess it was flying from Louisiana en route.
Wow.
And it crashed, and he decided that after representing some children that lost their parents and that that's where he wanted to spend his time and effort. So
Wow.
having seen that, I was still up in Tahoe for most of his practice, but then when I came down to UNLV, I started working for him and interning and getting around the legal atmosphere a little bit, and decided at that point that this is what I need to do. So after UNLV, we sat for the LSAT and did all that stuff, got into law school, and the rest, from that standpoint, it's history.
Yeah. So do you think, I know you were big into, like, you played a lot of football and like track and field and that sort of thing in high school.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, do you think that translates into like any of those sort of aspects of your personality, like translates into being a successful trial lawyer that you are today?
Absolutely, and I find that's a common theme actually amongst some of the more successful uh, trial attorneys is their prior athletic leadership.
Okay.
It really does correlate over. There's a big grind when you have to go to 3-day football and you play a contact sport.
Yep.
It just teaches you to be tougher. So yeah, I was lucky. I was at a real football high school down up in Worcester. Where we won the state championship 3 out of the 4 years I was there.
Wow.
We had a big wave of success when I was there, and we won our high school state championship AAA on a Hail Mary.
No way.
121-20. It was a crazy ending to a high school career.
That's amazing. What position did you play? You were a skill position player, right?
Yeah. I played strong safety, cornerback. Did a little bit of running back, tailback, once in a while quarterback, and did all the kicking, and it was a
Really
great time of my life.
That's amazing. Yeah, I could tell. Hail Mary. That's like Boston College and Doug Flutie.
Oh, totally, the Doug Flutie movie. Yeah, you it was very similar. It wasn't quite that long of a pass, but it was certainly about a 30-yarder.
How long was it?
It's about a 30-yarder. We
Wow.
call it the Roman candle, where they tip it and the guy catches it in the corner.
Yep.
So it came out pretty nice.
That's awesome. So one thing I noticed is you studied hotel administration as well, like, and I guess that makes sense because you're out in being out in Vegas, that's like a big industry there. Like I did a few of those classes at UMass until they got to this like 3-hour seminar class. I was like, nah, I'm skipping. I'm gonna stop doing that.
Right.
You're like, do something else. So like, what happened there? Like, you just were like, you said you didn't want the weekends, the holidays, the nights, all that sort of thing.
Well, I was looking at the course catalog and I was like, well, what's UNLV known for? And they're like, well, their hotel school's the best. It was them and Cornell at the time kind of fighting over who was the best hotel school. I say, you know what? I'm just going to go to the hotel school. If you can, run a hotel, a little city, you can probably run your own business pretty well. And there's a big emphasis in accounting. So I like, let's go that direction.
Yeah.
So went to a couple classes, found that I liked it, did a couple, studies abroad, and figured out that, this is what I like to do. It's you get a little cooking in there, a little bit of fun, but there's a serious side to it as well, and there's the management side's very strong there.
Sure, got you. So you went on to law school. You worked for 3 years, and congratulations. It seems like you're at 20 years, right, at Benson and Bingham.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're just I guess we'll be. I've been practicing for 24 years, but the law firm itself, we're going on our big 20-year anniversary.
What's the celebration, man? Let's go. What are we doing in Vegas?
We're trying to think of something, maybe Nashville, something that's outside of
All right, so it is out there. All right, that's cool. Well, we got to get the lawyer stories team out there, aka me. No, I'm just kidding. But that's awesome. Congrats. That's like a really big accomplishment because a lot of people start and maybe it fizzles out or it's not for them and they're overburdened. So like, first of all, like, what advice would you give somebody who's going to launch their own firm?
That's a tough one nowadays. You really got to understand the marketing side of the business. So if you're, there's some great attorneys that work for other attorneys, and a lot of those attorneys that own their own firm really are the marketing side of things. Mm-hmm. So from that standpoint, if you're really thinking about going on your own, you got to make sure you have your ducks in a row and have ways to get the business, because there's a lot of good guys who can handle the business, but getting the business. But but the aspect of being a lawyer and being on your own, you're the boss. There's nobody to go out and well, now there's email threads and associations you can be members and ask and bump questions off via email.
Yep.
But it wasn't always like that. You always
Yep.
You're on your own. You're on your own.
That's
So,
right.
but being a counselor at law, that's a big title. When you're counseling people that have been through traumatic events.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
They don't really teach you that. So you've got to make sure that you have good people skills, high emotional IQ.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Yeah, that sounds right on. So Joseph, like how did you know like it was time to kind of separate from your dad, like start your own firm? I know we'll get into talking about your second cousin that you own it with, but like how did you know it was time to sort of move on and do your own thing?
Yeah, you just come to a point where you're, from a business standpoint, you're like, am I going to sit here and am I going to support, a staff of 50 and 5 partners who want to play golf every day? Or am I going to go out there and spread my rings and do this on my own? It's just, but that's my mentality. I've never been the guy who wanted to be the nurse or the assistant.
Gotcha.
I've always wanted to do that, but that's just maybe a little bit of the way I was raised.
Yep.
But it's just that leadership ability, I think, that carries people to that step of owning their own firm.
Yeah, so it's like leadership and maybe like an entrepreneurial spirit and wanting to be your own boss, and like it must be just the thought of going back and having to work. I mean, after 20 years, of course, but like having a boss, like is probably just like there's no way you could ever do that after you're on your own for probably like even a year, right?
Yeah, it's tough. You think you got to be open to everybody's opinion, and I try to, and we're wrong. We're all human, but there are times when it would be very difficult to go across the street and do that. So
Yeah.
at this point, it's not happening.
It's just not happening. So how have you maintained like such incredible success at your firm? Well, first of all, let's get into working with Ben. So how did you guys kind of connect up and know it was like a right time for both of you? He's your second cousin. It's like all in the family. I feel like your law firm has like a family type of vibe, which is amazing. So you probably maybe you treat your clients like family. I mean, I've heard that, but or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe they're like your partner. But like, how did you guys like kind of connect up at that right time?
Yeah, that's spot on. Ben is my second cousin, so we've known each other for a very long time. Not always been in the same circles, different cities, in fact, but in law school, we actually went to law school together.
Oh, nice.
Went to Thomas Jefferson. We studied together. We took the bar together. We studied for the bar together. We both passed together. We found out we passed the bar in Pebble Beach on the 18th hole. It was a crazy time.
Oh my gosh. I wish I had video footage of that, man.
Oh man, it was awesome.
That must have been like the best feeling ever.
Yeah, it was just an amazing time, amazing place to be, and amazing information to hear at that time. And October, 2000, it was a great feeling.
Wow.
But Ben and I always knew we were going to try and do this. And then 2003, he called me up and he was like, "Hey, he was doing a little bit of criminal law at the time and doing a little business law, doing a little bit of family law, just doing whatever he could do and doing some personal injury, and then decided, hey, I'm eating what I kill over here anyway. Let's go ahead and let's go start our firm." And I said, "Well, this is tough because I'm working for my dad, and how do you break the news to him?" And then it just dawns on you that you've got to be a man and do things on your own sometimes. So we talked to my dad, told him, "Look, I'm leaving, and I've got to do this for myself." So he was supportive, and it was great. Yeah. So we decided let's go do this. So we went and rented a little house on 6th Street downtown Las Vegas and opened our shingle, and
wow,
started getting our biz that way.
What was that like when you first opened a business like in Vegas? Like, were you getting crazy calls at like all times? Like people knocking on your window at like 4 a.m? Like, how does that work?
Well, I don't want to date myself, but when we started, the yellow pages were still a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I was around for that too. Like
Yeah, but the double truck yellow page was the key, or the back cover of the yellow page. If you had that and you were a lawyer, you were probably doing very well.
Okay.
So we jumped into that trap, and we're about 50 pages deep into the attorneys in the very back. Nobody ever found us that way.
Okay. All right. So that. All right. Well, it worked out. So give us some like tips for the 20 years of success.
Well,
you're still working with your cousin, so
yeah, I mean,
that's loyalty.
It's super interesting dynamic with that. You've got to find someone. There's times when he disagrees with me and I disagree with him, but it's like a marriage. You just have to have those ups and downs and understand each other. But at the end of the day, you've got to put the business first. And we know people. I know a couple of lawyers that just recently, broke their partnership. I think it was 15 years at least. So, it happens, and it's tough to. You just got to keep it massaged and keep the office going, and you both bring your own skill sets to the firm.
Yeah.
My strengths and my weaknesses, and Ben has the same, but we just try and emphasize what we're good at and run it.
So it sort of complements each other. Is one of you more like, I'm going to go fetch these clients, you're going to go to court? Like, is that, or do you just have like associates now that are doing all like most of the court work and, that sort of thing?
Back in the day, it was, Ben was more street hustling because he was used to that when he was working at Moran's office. And I was kind of dealing with the inventory that I had, but I was still trying to go out there, and we were still trying to get business. I think at heart, both of us are pretty good at that side. Operationally, that's, I think, my strength. Bringing to the table, just keeping operations going, thinking about where we should be, and Ben's a really good communicator, so we both complement each other in that respect.
That's great. That's what a blessing that is, huh? To have like that going for like 20 years and, everything going well.
Yeah, it served us pretty well.
Yeah. So like what qualities, like, would you say, I think you touched on this earlier, like, does it make to be a successful personal injury attorney?
You've got to be, at the end of the day, you've got to be very organized. It's not something that people think about, but being organized is key, because when you start juggling a lot of different cases and thinking about what needs to be done, there's a lot of tasks that need to be handled. You need a great staff, a great support staff, because you can't do it all yourself.
Right.
But there's a lot that goes into that. I mean, certainly the legal education that you get is helpful, but you got to be eager to learn. You got to be able to embrace technology. There's always something new coming out. So all those collectively are, you got to put that forward to make yourself a success.
Yeah. How did you guys do with all that? Like the transition from like, the yellow pages to sort of like SEO and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah, we got real lucky. I tell you, we were one of the first, went to high school with our webmaster, who's still our webmaster today.
That's awesome.
I ran into him in San Diego. It was a really ironic thing. We were both at a function and met up, and then just kind of stayed in touch because we hadn't seen each other for a while when we left high school.
Right.
And he's doing this SEO thing. I didn't quite understand what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And before long, Benson and Bingham's on page 1 of Google.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then 2005, 2006, people started throwing away their yellow pages, and all of a sudden, Google became that. So we were fortunate to jump from the last page of the yellow pages to the front page of Google, and we were happy to trade.
That's amazing. So what kind of clients are knocking at your door? Who's coming to Joseph Benson to help them with their legal issues?
Sure. Yeah. Well, we do, we do a lot of referral business. So a lot of the clients after 20 years get in accidents, and they're coming back where they know someone who's been in an accident and felt like we handled their case, with passion and care, and got them the result that they wanted. So a lot of it's referral based, but we do just a lot of, just a lot of things to help these clients come back to us. And I think that's really that's the primary focus. But 95% of what we do is automobile accidents.
Okay.
Medical malpractice, and obviously being in Las Vegas, there's a lot of hotel accidents where my degree comes in real handy.
Okay.
The safety, I was actually writing a book that I still haven't finished, but it's
Hmm.
ongoing, but it's a collection of events in hotels that we've had over the last 20 years, from,
Wow.
casino slip, trip and falls to
Yep.
stairs to showers and assault and batteries. And we've got some interesting photos, and it's going to be a good book.
Yeah, that sounds cool. I mean, like I was sort of into like the hotel thing too. Like I worked at a front desk like for a while. Like it was actually, I don't know if you remember a brand called the Sioux Chalet. It turned into a Fairfield Inn. So what happened
Okay.
was it went from Sioux Chalet to Fairfield Inn, and I ended up getting all the discounts to all the Marriotts everywhere.
Hey,
South Beach, like because it was, I had like this low end
mhm.
Marriott property, but I could go to like any one I wanted.
That's
Um,
you can't beat that. I tell you,
no.
that was the perks working at Four Seasons. You
So
got
yeah, I mean, I that's cool. Like, I love the hotel thing. I'm sure that's going to be a super interesting book when it comes out. I'll have to read that.
yes.
And I'm sure. I wonder if like these cases start with like when they see a slip and fall, they start with like how hammered were you? Like is that basically like what the first question is of like somebody who maybe falls at a hotel in Vegas? I mean, maybe that's simplified, but I would guess that
Say that again. How a hammer?
how hammered was your was
Oh, how
plaintiff,
hammered?
like you know what I mean?
No,
Because like
alcohol.
it's a hotel in Vegas, so they're probably like, okay, well, let me see the blood alcohol test or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. The problem is that they're feeding them the alcohol, right? You're
That's
sitting at
true.
the
Yeah.
blackjack
Okay.
table. They're feeding you all this alcohol. They want you to gamble, of course, and so
Yeah.
you have a few drinks. So I think it's the reasonable, prudent Las Vegas gambler has a few drinks, and then
Okay.
they go on their way. But it's really, did that affect their actions enough to where liability should be shifted to them or keep with the hotel. So
Gotcha.
a lot of times these hotels, the proprietors are creating the hazards.
Yeah.
You go into these shows and they forget to light up the staircase, but they
Yeah.
expect you to go to your seat.
That's
So
true. Yeah.
we get a lot
That's
of those.
what's that?
We get a lot of those. We get some construction. We get stuff falling from the ceiling. There's all
Wow.
kinds of good stuff. Power cords, carpets that are not tucked. It's
Wow.
there's a lot of things in the hotel.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's wild to be out there. So, you mentioned your dad. I read about it. Also an attorney. He had two rules. One, the client is always right, and two, if the client is wrong, refer to number one.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was just his philosophy. He always wanted the client to be happy.
Yep.
And he got in trouble one time in his life where, as lawyers, we're not allowed to give our clients money. We're not allowed to loan them money. There's this, appearance of impropriety if you are, I guess they think you're buying your client. But there was a time when he had a client that really needed money, and this was before lending became a big deal. And I think he gave him like $500 or something to get through till his case settled.
Yep.
And no good deed goes
Oh,
unpunished.
jeez.
Within like 6 months of that, this particular client, and I don't know how it ended up coming about, but came back and somehow got to the state bar. My dad got disciplined, just a reprimand. He
Wow.
had a really good track record, but he was trying to help him, and it was a
Yeah.
genuine help. But you can't do that, and you've got to let your clients know that as well. So, but his rule was really that you got to do what you can for your client. Your client is the one that's paying your bills. So you got to do what you can to make sure that they're on a pedestal. So when staff gets mad or a client calls you upset, we don't know their circumstances, why
Yeah.
they're so. We got to make sure that we do our best to make them happy, and whether that's changing a fee at the end of the case when it's warranted, to going above and beyond, kind of a Four Seasons mentality to make sure that we can get that client taken care of, whether that's setting up doctor's visits or helping them with the property damage or their vehicle, rental cars, all that stuff.
Oh, that's nice. I think that's huge. Do you have a system for that in place at your firm, or you'll have like maybe one of your associates or somebody who like a paralegal or somebody set that up?
Yeah, we've got a real as we've grown, that's the one good thing of growing a little bit. We're not too big, we're not too small, but when you're that medium-sized firm, you've got your procedures in place, and
Yeah.
once you get those procedures in place, you have teams that specialize in just doing that.
Okay.
So we have an excellent team of intake, we have an excellent team of case management, we have an excellent team of disbursements. So once you get that going, that machine just has to stay oiled and keep everybody tuned up, and the process rolls much smoother that way. Whereas
Yeah.
to that single solo attorney who's trying to juggle everything and he misses that and misses that, it doesn't happen at our firm.
Right.
We're really dedicated to keeping those procedures in place.
Right. Okay. That's great. I think systems and procedures are so important to law firms. So what makes Benson and Bingham better than different than other firms?
It's a little cliche, but we're very into the client experience. We really want to take care of our clients. We want them to feel like family. It's a tough situation that some people are losing spouses. We've had really awful situations with minor children. When you have that going on, you've got to be that boutique law firm to make sure that those clients understand that you're there, that they can trust you, that and that's really what it's about, making sure that they understand your integrity as a lawyer, that you're going to help them through this process as hard as it can be, and you're going to do the right thing by them.
Okay, got it. So what advice do you have for young attorneys who might want to get involved in practicing personal injury law?
Like I said, if you got to be a good counselor, and you need to understand how to deal with certain situations. Obviously, a lot of experience is very helpful when you're preparing for certain cases, because you know how to prepare those, because you know how it's going to go in trial. So as long as if you're litigating the proper way and you've done it for a long time, when I'm in the hospital, sometimes I'll interview the client then and get it on video. There's no better representation of what they're going through than that. Some people take a picture of a cast, but I get that video talking to them about their pain and suffering at that moment. That's a really good capture.
Sure.
And a lot of attorneys fail to do that. So if we can get that captured and plan it with the right experts, and in fact, we're going to do a day in the life video down in Florida for one of our clients who's really suffering.
Oh, wow.
Those kind of things, capturing that now along the way is invaluable.
Okay. Are you in other states besides Vegas? Like you have a client in Florida, or?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is, as you brought up earlier, is that Las Vegas is, we got 40, it used to be, I think 40 million people a year come visit here. So we've got a lot of people come here, get injured and go back home. And there was a time, I would say 30% of our client base was out of state. So I've represented people, different countries. I've represented them throughout different states. We get airline, pilots, airline staff. They come, they get injured here. There's some of those. I had some crazy, a Southwest attendant had luggage fall down the escalator on her, and I represented a United Airlines flight attendant. She was based out of Chicago. So you just do a lot of different.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. That didn't really dawn on me that people coming and going Vegas. So you'd have to travel to get more info and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's really what the internet really brought all that together, because just like you're purchasing a home, you go on Zillow now, it was the same thing. You go there, you're going to go find your attorney in Las Vegas before you call your attorney and get a referral here. But we do a lot of stuff in California as well. We're on that border. A lot of people drive in here from Los Angeles, San Diego. And there's stuff that happens in between in these deserts that we end up actually litigating in Nevada, even though it may have happened in California. I filed one in Nevada that happened in Arizona that should have been filed in California, according to the defense, but we ended up keeping it in Nevada because all the medical treatment was in Nevada. The helicopter landed here for the care flight. So a lot of things, a lot of states, a lot of action that goes on here in Southern Nevada. We're able to litigate a lot, and we do a lot in Northern Nevada as well.
Sounds like it. Wow, that's amazing. Keep him busy. So
We are.
so over the last 20 years, do you have anything that stands out that you want to bring up? Any particular cases? I know they're all very important, but do you have any that like sort of you think about or that?
Yeah, every once in a while you have unique cases that you never really forget. I think the one that and I've had a lot, so I don't want to act like this is the
Right.
most important because it wasn't. But we had it was early in my career, and I had a case against one of the large automobile manufacturers for a products liability case.
Okay.
And one of their pickup trucks had a defective transmission, so you could
Wow.
actually you could put the vehicle by just pulling the lever from park into neutral reverse without putting your foot on the brake. And
Wow.
his brother got in the front seat and pulled the lever. Meanwhile, his younger brother, who was 3 years old, was in the back on the driveway. And the car rolled back and really crushed left side of his head. He lost vision in his left eye.
Goodness.
And lucky he didn't get crushed completely. But that poor child has a long road ahead of him with only one
Yeah.
eye. Here you're going up against a very large company and litigating. You need all the experts that you can get, and that case, we were fortunate what we were able to do for that young man and young boy at the time. But he's not my son's age. He's 17.
Wow.
Still talk to the mother once in a while, but it's
Right.
definitely that case stands out because it's one of those that you do a lot of work, you learn a lot in law school, and it all came into play.
Yeah.
This type of defective design
Yep.
that we came in there and
Wow.
handled.
Were there
So,
articles written about that? That's terrible. That's
it's an interesting case. We ended up resolving that. So
Okay.
there was a confidentiality agreement.
Gotcha. Yeah. Made sense.
We couldn't really go too far with that, but it there's just a lot of these cases that we work on, they end up settling
Yep.
deep into litigation usually, and these requirements, it's harder to get around those confidentiality agreements, but as long as we're getting the result for the client, that's more important.
Yeah. Yep. That's and I really did like actually product liability in law school. That was a class I really liked. So did you take a class from the late Justice Scalia? Did I read that or no? Or
Yeah, it's I wish I could say I took a whole class from Justice Scalia, but Justice Antonin Scalia, the late Supreme Court justice, really I guess more on the conservative side of the court. He did a summer studies abroad in Ireland at Trinity.
Gotcha.
And would go over there and do a couple week session, and we would go and study international constitutional law at Trinity College, and he would run the show there. But it was really cool to, during the intermissions and sessions from him, teaching, just go shoot the breeze with him a little
Wow.
bit.
Cool. Yeah.
Light a cigarette at the break, and you'd sit there and talk with him about it.
That's
And,
awesome.
but really good guy, really smart guy.
Wow. It's amazing. What an experience that was. So did I leave anything out? Is there anything like we missed about the firm or working with family or anything that you want to share?
I think you covered it pretty well. I mean, what we do at Benson and Bingham is a variety of personal injury, whether it's negligence, products liability, medical malpractice, slip, trip, and falls. The premises liability. There's just a lot of that. Like I said, in Las Vegas, I would consider us really experts at all of those. But we do a lot of casino hotel litigation.
Okay.
Tractor trailer accidents. We've had some real success there, but just the whole variety there. But that's what we focus on, and we look forward to helping people for years to come.
That's awesome. Joseph Benson, thanks for coming on today. Please stay right there. Everybody else, Benson and Bingham in Las Vegas, Nevada,
Nevada, baby.
Nevada. Wherever you are in the world today, enjoy yourselves.